I'm just going to share a strike I got. So YouTube struck me, one of my videos. But what's interesting about this strike is what we get struck for. So here's a video. The video's been removed for violating the guidelines. So what exactly happened here? I don't know. It says my community guidelines. It says that right here, a rotten laugh. Biden wants what? He said that's medical information. Medical information? What are you talking about? I read your article. I read their article. U.S. wants COVID vaccine patent waiver to benefit world, not boost China. I read it.
Reuters. U.S. wants COVID vaccine patent waiver to drop as vaccination rates increased this year, but infections are still rising in 36 countries, with India's daily cases skyrocketing to nearly 400,000 a day.
I just read their article. Made a little comment on it. Their article. Theirs. Not me. Not mine. Theirs. Their shit. Their shit. See, I read it. I just read it. Here's the article. U.S. wants COVID vaccine patent waiver to benefit world, not boost China biotech. Look here. The Biden administration is examining ways to ensure that the waiver of COVID-19 vaccine patients to aid poor countries will not hand sensitive U.S. biopharmaceutical technology to China and Russia, responding to a course of concerns U.S. and industry officials say. Right? It's theirs. It's fucking theirs. How am I in trouble? I now look here. Keep going. Look. WTO chief says hopes COVID patent issue will be settled by December. This was just a few hours ago. The head of the World Trade Organization said on Monday she hopes that by December, the body's members will have reached a pragmatic solution over whether to waive COVID-19 vaccine patents. Movement on both sides, she saw, referring to proponents of a waiver that and who has objections, and was hopeful of a framework agreement, the waiver issue, technological transfers, and better access to vaccines for developing countries. Go look these things up for yourself. Apparently, they don't want you to talk about these. Apparently, this is a thing here. If you discuss WTO or Biden or anything with the COVID patent, they're going to strike you. The U.S. reverses its stance, back giving poorer countries access. You know what they're doing? They're giving poorer countries access by letting them come over here to my country and get vaccines in Dallas, Texas, as I did a video on. And a level 4, Mexico, level 4, the worst, the most contagious, apparently. And, they're allowed to come over to America, to Texas, today, yesterday, tomorrow. They're there now, getting vaccines and a vacation. Poorer countries. Why are we just not giving them? What is the deal? Why are we having reverse the stance, or we're backing giving it? But what do you mean back? Why wouldn't you? Why would you want to keep poorer countries from having vaccine patents if it's the end of the world? You're not selling me a narrative. Do you see what I'm saying? What exactly are you trying to sell me? Because this movie sucks. Your movie sucks. I veto. I don't want to go see it. The power the U.S. has over the pharmaceutical industry. That's exactly what this is about. Money, 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 money. And all I did was share a video or share an article. I read an article. You can see it's them. It's their stuff. It's just an algorithm. An algorithm hit me because it didn't like something I said. I said Biden and WTO and whoever. I made the right collection of words and it goes, oh my God, she's sending out misinformation. No, I'm not. I'm reading your shit. How is it misinformation? Then it's your misinformation. So what does that mean? Are you misinforming me? Is that what you're telling me? And that YouTube is smarter than the rest of the world and it's saying, nope, Reuters is misinformation about COVID. And we should not believe anything that they say. They're misinformationing us. That's what this is telling me. That's what, look at all these Reuters. I don't even, look at that. All these 5 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, 4 days ago, 2 key EU countries rebuff Biden on sharing. How dare you? Drug makers say Biden is misguided over vaccine patent waivers. Pope Francis backs Biden. You know what? Germany objects to Biden's. No, but what does Biden have anything to do with this anyway? Why does his fucking opinion matter in any of this? I'd like to know. Regardless, apparently, you can see here, misinformation. It says to me, YouTube doesn't allow claims about COVID-19 vaccinations that contradict expert consensus from local health authorities or the WHO. Now, I don't know, but I've clicked through here and reading.
Go get your shots. We got cookbooks for you. Don't forget those. Problems. Views of how to address the concerns in the against countries. I still haven't figured out what you're going to say.
Reading their article, giving an opinion. That's now medical misinformation. And my opinion wasn't even about COVID. I don't even care about the COVID. My opinion was actually about the fact that they won't share the shit. That's what my opinion was. And that's the problem there. That's ridiculous. So I wrote this. I made no such medical information claims, which I did not in that video. This is a Reuters article, and one of yours. And you say Biden wants the vaccine patent waiver, not me. Is this how we run YouTube now? We aren't even allowed to share your stupid shit now and have an opinion on it. Go fuck off. Hey, Druzy. I've had about enough. You can't say a fucking thing about a fucking thing. And then 1 minute I can, because I just did a whole bunch of article videos about them letting Mexicans in on a level 4 because they have money in their wallet. They don't care a fuck about Mexicans. They care a fuck about rich Mexicans, and they want you in Texas. So if you're a rich Mexican, book your tour to Texas. You'd think that'd be what they'd strike me for, not when I read one of their articles. You'd think they'd strike me for when I tell them that they're ridiculous, not this. So they didn't like what was the links put in the chat or something, because there's absolutely no reason. I said nothing about the vaccine in this article. I mean, not for misinformation. Not buying that. Biden. It's because I put your name in there. Is that why? I'm going to say that's why. I honestly think the minute I put Biden wants what, they had a fit. Anyway, I'm on grounded. Rotten Studios is grounded now for 1 week. Not allowed to do anything because I read one of their articles. Interesting.
Year, but infections are still rising in 36 countries, with India's daily cases skyrocketing to nearly 400,000
I'm gonna share this shit again. Go fuck them.
Western pharmaceutical companies, many of which have received government support to develop vaccines, strongly oppose the transfer of intellectual property to make them. They say poorer countries will be slow to set up manufacturing capacity and compete for scarce supplies, hitting production. Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer Inc., said on Friday that
that's apparently a crime. Reading their articles. Anyway, I'm done now. Morning round's over. Jesus. Anyway, what is everybody doing? Anything exciting? Anything fun? No idea. Well, I'll read some more of their articles today. I might do a new channel. I'm gonna think of a name for it. I'm gonna start a new channel. I'm just gonna read articles there. And I'll do a test to see which articles I read get me struck. What do they not like me talk? Because they wrap it all up like it's COVID. Oh, I'm sorry, nothing fun. Getting ready for work. Boozy Droozy. Droozy Boozy. I'm just kidding. Work is good for you. Work is good for you. It makes you feel like you've done something. Even if it sucks, you feel like you've at least maybe, I don't know. Hey, Gabby. Been accomplished something, I got outside and did some stuff yesterday. My mama, Fiona, is fucking pissed at me right now. She's pissed as hell. I'm down to 3 ducklings. She's pissed at me. Just, it's a crazy day at the farm, But it's fun anyway. I'm still enjoying myself. Yeah. So this is happening. Reuters. They root around in the mud. I thought Reuters was one of theirs. Isn't Reuters one of theirs? Of course it is. They're all theirs. If it's on the internet, it's one of theirs. YouTube's is theirs. Biden's theirs. Facebook's theirs. Who are we kidding? That's all their shit. Stupid fucks. Let's see what other trouble we can get into, shall we? Oh, man. Let's see. I found some. Oh, let me share this. Ooh. Okay, so all this talk right now. I found this. I haven't shared it yet. All this talk right now about, Gates and his wife breaking up. Well, something hit me about that. I thought, why do they want you to know, first of all? And then when they say, please leave us alone and let us have our privacy, they can go fuck themselves with their privacy. But it was something interesting because I happen to know, and I don't have the links for that, just this part. So you just have to believe me. You can just go look it up. But I happen to know that in America and in lots of countries, actually, but specifically here, the Gates have been buying up a lot of land in America, like tons of it. And now they're getting divorced. And whenever I think of a celebrity or a politician or someone like that getting divorced, anytime one of these fucksticks get divorced, you need to remember this. They're separating themselves from each other. One of them is going down. One of them is being a dick. One of them is in trouble. One of them is on a radar, and they need to separate from each other before something happens. That can be all number of things. It can be before I'm found out I'm cheating. I want to get away from my husband before this breaks the news. I don't want to be standing next to him while he's at a conference telling everybody he's been sleeping with his secretary in the Oval Office. These kinds of things. Of course, she didn't, by the way. She didn't. Now, why didn't she? I know why, because that was her role. Her role was to stand by her man, and she did. And that's so that we'd have trust and love for her when she ran for president. They were trying something different with good old Miss Clinton. And I don't know if it backfired or not. They needed her to stay married. She's too much of a cunt to be single. And nobody else in the red, white, and blue world would touch her. So it makes them more likable. in a way. You might not think so, but it does. There's studies on that stuff. So why do they get divorced? A lot of these celebrities and stuff, they get divorced to separate and to divide things, to save face. Yeah, Ricky, there you go. Save face or save the money. Exactly. So why do you want me to know? All right, Ricky, wait till you see what I found. All right, so it turns out that I like surnames. I like to know where they come from. So his wife, what's her name? I don't even know. I can't remember. His wife, Melinda Gates. Okay, Melinda Gates. Now here's some interesting things. Okay, her grandfather. So her great grandfather. Let me see if I can find you where. No, I didn't. Okay. Anyway, don't matter. So her great grandfather is this guy, Henry Dietrich American. He was born in 1825 in Hanover, Germany, and he died in New Orleans at 68. So this is what I found interesting. So married on January 23rd, 1851 to Anna Maria Dinkgrave. Born between, this is when she was born, and she also died in Louisiana. So Maryland. So here, there's kids. And a Miller, married to a Henry Christian Miller. And then, so Anna Maria and Henry Christian had Miller kids. And then we have female. And we have another male. Maryland. Do you see that? Maryland. All right, so he used to be the owner of a coffee shop and saloon. Is that this guy's name? No. Yeah, birth, Hanover, Germany. His occupation was the owner of a coffee house and saloon. No, she is, Gabby. On January 23rd, he married this girl. In 1870, he was now in a census in New Orleans. He'd now moved to America. And in 1880, he was now in Ward 9. I don't know what that means. And then he died. Okay. So here's what's interesting about this Henry Dietrich Maryland. Turns out in Maryland, it's a made up name. So you can go through and find the Maryland genealogy, right? Is that the one that I have right there? No, okay. I was clicking on some of these trying to find this because whenever you look, see it's not listed. You can see the countries here, the distribution map, right? Can you see that? This is the distribution map of the name. It's Germany and England, and then it's all over here. 7 incidences of a Maryland and Germany, 4 in England, and then it came over here for 34. 34. Well, the name was, where's the other one I found? It just he made it up is what happened. They made it up. So I started looking into the thing and where these people were, what year they were born, what was going on in their countries. Right, Hanover. He was around during the Prussian War here. Say 7 Weeks War. Anyway, came over here, and so the other last name being Dinkgrave. That was his wife's last name. It's from the Netherlands. It says you can see here North Holland, South Holland, you got 76 names, 22 names. Comes from the Netherlands. It's mostly found in surnames. It's most frequent in and I found this stuff interesting. Forebears. Oh, let me try this one. Maybe it's on the site. Hold on. Hey, Justice. Fucking Masonic DB. Nice, Gabby. How did I spell that stupid thing? I already forgot. EMER. Oops. AMERLAND. Okay, here it is. Look there. Down here it says the surname Maryland occurs more in the United States than any other country. The last name is this most numerous last name globally. It is borne by approximately 1 in blah, blah, blah. The surname occurs predominantly in the Americas, where 76% of Maryland lives. 70%, 6% live in North America and Anglo-North America. The last name is most commonly held in the United States, where it is borne by 34 people. The United States and Maryland is most frequent in Louisiana, where he came from, where he went to. So he left Germany, Hanover, Germany, somewhere. Oh, where was that one? I already lost it. Somewhere during this. Right? And then to a Louisiana. Him and his wife said he was a coffee shop owner. And they just came up with a name. He said, I'm moving to America and I'm going to call myself Henry Maryland. Americaland is what he named himself. He named himself Americaland after he left Germany and moved to Louisiana. That's what happened. Now, I find this interesting because Maryland is a made-up name by Melinda Gates' great-great-grandpappy. He made it up when he came here. And then his great-great-granddaughter and her husband have been buying up Maryland everywhere. They're buying it up. Do you not think that our governments would go, it's not really a good idea that we have somebody. I know in business. Let me say this. Hey Max, I know in business that it isn't smart to sell more than your share of anything. So you never want to give someone else 1% more, 51% of the share. That's what you don't want to do. And yet these people who are so good at business, supposedly, are constantly doing that. They're constantly doing that. They're constantly selling off their shares. Now, the problem with you selling off shares of the country is that those shares aren't yours. They're everyone's. Do you see how greedy these fuckers are? They care not about anyone or us or you or your future. No, of course not. It's their future. I don't know when. I know I'm not speaking to a person in this room, so please no. Please no. I could not imagine. Thanks, Gabby, for handing it to me. I'm kidding. Oh God. When is I just want to know when everyone else is going to go, oh my God, they don't care about us. They don't care about me. They don't. No, these people they care about me. They love me. They want to take care of me. They want to keep me safe. They want to keep me safe. They love me. Hey, I'm consenting. Interesting. Let me see. I found some other tabs. I want to see some other interesting things that I found while I'm just doing a general chitty chat here. All these crap. Oh, that's some narcissistic stuff that I'm working on. Okay. So this was something interesting I found. So you guys, let me get my little geese in my water here. Girls. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, I see what she done did. There you go. Okay. Connecting the biology of aging and the biology of disease. So what is geroscience? Came across geroscience. You may have heard of it. I hadn't heard of it before, so I got excited. So I'm like, oh no, they found a new one. Yay. Another way to call it, name it something so we won't recognize what it is. So it's a research paradigm based in addressing the biology of aging and the biology of age-related diseases together. By treating aging, not just the diseases, we stay healthy longer. These people want to live as long as possible. Their goal: to develop feasible, practical, and safe interventions to delay the appearance of multiple chronic disease. Delay the appearance. You'll still have it, but you'll delay the appearance. Interventions that slow the aging process would dramatically lower healthcare costs. It would, but for a while, it's going to make them dramatically higher while they're getting you all lined up so they can study you. Perhaps more than the cure of any single disease while significantly improving your life. They do not want to, they're doing this to you. They're doing this to you. Most scientists do not do research on themselves, okay? Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hyde is a rare phenomenon. You can look it up, actually. Wikipedia has articles on what scientists did experiments on themselves. It's rare, but it's there. But it's not as often as you think. So quit thinking that that's the norm. That is not the norm. That's the exception. They almost always do it on you, not on someone else. So it's ludicrous to think that they have our best. Look, this guy doesn't want to die at all. He's like, I'm going to live to be 180. Anyway, I think these things are interesting. They're using us. They're using us. Look at that with the gears even. Go fuck. Look at that. We got HIV and aging and cancer, all these gears. We need the HIV and the diabetes and the cancer. That's how we're going to save ourselves. We need these diseases. Oddly enough, I've read several articles now that says that the vaccine can cause a lot of diseases later on in life. You know, like problems with these things. Dementia and Alzheimer's and heart disease. Wonder why they'd want to have us all suddenly have an uptick of cases of dementia and cancer and Alzheimer's and heart disease and diabetes. Because this vaccine, oh my God, I mean, it struck again. Hey, Tristan. Hey, Freedom. Like Nolan's. Okay, awesome. I'm going to check all that out. The vaccine is potentially unlocking your if you had the potential to become a cancer in your body, like it's already in there, it's lying dormant. Imagine that the vaccine turns it on. Just imagine that for a second. And that's what I think they're going to do. They're going to get everybody sick so they can save you. That's called Munchausen last time I checked. Let's see. So I found, that's something. That's the string time theory. Never mind. I read that boring stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, technocracy. Found this interesting. So a form of government where policymakers are appointed or elected based on their technical skills or proven performance. So what is technocracy? Technocracy is a form of government where people with immense knowledge in science and or technological expertise in an area are elected to a public office. The decision makers are known as technocrats, and they are appointed or elected to hold office based on their expertise in a given field of knowledge. Consequently, the decisions they make are based on scientific data or objective methodology that is backed by science instead of opinion. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's just say they don't want to elect them. Let's say we don't want to elect them. Electing them, everybody's used to. That's tricky. It might scare off the public if we had a science elected. Oh, we do. We've seen it coming when they started it. Let's call it a gateway drug with good old Ronald Reagan, when they started giving us celebrities and wrestlers and talk show hosts and comedians as political leaders. What's next? Scientists. But in the meantime, let's keep them in the background. I found that to be interesting to understand it. The position came into existence during the Great Depression when highly skilled professionals, such as scientists and engineers, were believed to be better placed and address economic problems than politicians who were elected to office. Now, okay, when did the Great Depression happen? When did the Great Depression happen? During the war, for fuck's sakes. During the war. And after the Great Depression, we brought all those scientists over here and gave them all jobs. You know, these scientists and these people. What is that? What are you saying to me? Technocracy. I found that to be interesting. This is on corporatefinanceinstitute.com is where this is. So corporatefinanceinstitute.com. You want to know the future. Read the business section. Let's see. What was this one? Don't talk bad about Jesse Ventura. Microwave from the inside out, like how they, yes, I believe that too, Gabby. There's some, I have some thoughts on that spontaneous combustion stuff. And what was the one that just came out? I did something on it. If I didn't, I pulled tabs. So remember, look, of course they are. They love them, don't they? Yeah, this was interesting. So this was from April 29th, understanding the neurological and psychological effects of COVID-19. I really wanted to talk about this because here's the thing. They're going to say in 10 years, we didn't know. One thing I can tell you is that if you have I know this from my own personal experience and what the geneticist told me when I paid all that money to go visit her. I was born with a specific set of genetic traits. Now, based off of trauma that happens to the body, these traits can be turned on, and a side effect becomes active for you. So something you may have never dealt with before, or even something on occasion. So, for example, my genetic disorder causes me to be predisposed to disorders like POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is what keeps me from doing a lot. It's what keeps me from standing up. So I went my entire life just battling that in dizzy spells, still able to work, still able to do this, still able to do that until major trauma. And then when major trauma kicked in, my body turned on. And now that is a 24-hour thing for me. 24 hours. This is what happens with psychological complications. Now, my doctor explained this to me, or the doctor. It's not my doctor. I go to them. I don't go to doctors. I was just trying to figure out what was wrong with me because my ex was trying to have me committed for being a psycho. I was like, I'm not. You're making me crazy. Narcissistic abuse, if you've heard of it before. So these psychological conditions, these neurological and psychological conditions and complications can linger on in COVID survivors long after the cold. Now, let me tell you something. You don't have to have a heartbreak or a loss of job or a death of a child or a parent or whatever. You don't have to lose anything. You know what you can do? You can get a shot. You can get sick. Even people that have mind disorder, the POTS, people who suffer from PTSD, where their life was felt to be in danger, perceived danger. Now, rather not the body decides or the mind goes, oh my God, I'm in danger. So it might not be so far as having a gun to your head that makes your brain go, we are in danger of dying. It can be fear-based. It only has to be the illusion of dying. And telling the whole world that we are in the middle of a pandemic and that millions of people are dying and getting sick is causing every human on the planet to have perceived fear of death. A perceived fear of death causes long-term fatigue, brain fog, post-traumatic stress disorder. The loss of taste and smell are transient, appearing in diseases, subsiding once the virus clears. Why would you lose your taste and smell anytime you have a cold? Anytime. Not COVID. COVID doesn't make you lose anytime your nose gets stuffed up, because taste and smell are directly linked. So if your nose is stuffy and you can't smell, you will be unable to taste. That's common sense, for fuck's sakes. But they have sold this to an entire group of people that, oh my God, I can't taste anything. I'm dying of the COVID. And not one of them stopped for 1 second to remember the last time they had a cold or allergies and nothing tasted good. Most of the time, if you have a real bad cold and you're a smoker, you'll know what I'm talking about, because many times we choose not to smoke that much for a day or two. We're not even interested. We don't have the urges even. So those neurological and and you don't have to believe a fucking word I say. I promise you don't. Go look it up yourself. I'm not telling you anything that ain't true. It's all there. All of this is there. It's just we're so busy looking at masks and protests, we're not paying attention to the psychological damage that's being done to people. Neurological symptoms pertain specifically to the damage the virus causes. The virus in your body is making your cells feel like it's dying. So a perceived death on a physical form as well as a mental form. Do you see how it works? Physical and mentally, psychologically and physically. You are being attacked. The nervous system is being attacked, rather directly or indirectly. While psychological symptoms encompass behavior, emotions, and cognitive impairments. Now, if I knew that COVID could cause the fear of this, the fear of these psychological effects, the fear of dying from COVID-19, because I'm a scientist, I've done lots of studies, affects behavior, emotional, and cognitive impairments. Now, I have a question for you. Oh, thanks, Dennis. I have a question for you. Would you, as a demon or an alien or a whatever Kool-Aid flavor you want, would you not use this information to your advantage? Of course you would. Of course you would. I would. Fuck, I would. If I wanted to take over the world, you darn tootin', I would put everything in it. And I know that the mental, a spiritual death is just as powerful on the mind as a physical one. And now I have an opportunity to create both. Symptoms range. So, I found all this interesting. Like, many who leave the hospital after being treated for a clinical illness go to develop, looky there, Now, if you've been watching me at all, I'm just going to toot my own horn because I have been saying this for a very long time. Not related to COVID, but this. This is what I study. This is because it's happened to me. I want to know why. You struggle with brain fog. What would brain fog? You're cloudy. Your brain fog, can't think straight. You can't make decisions. You don't know what to do. Your thing's all broken and screwed up. We can't say for sure how it causes a neuropsychiatric complications, but the present is certain that it has been linked to a greater risk of either longer hospital stays or in hospital mortality. The risk of death for hospital patients who have developed toxic metabolic encephalopathy, for example, is 24% higher. In other words, these symptoms signal a need for more intensive care, even if they're not accompanied by more recognizable signs of distress like breathing difficulty. Well, if you take the mask off, I see a lot of recognizable signs of stress, like breathing difficulties. Let's just talk about this for a second, shall we? Look at this. Let me talk about this for a second. Let me see what you guys have to say there, because I see some cool stuff. Have you researched the head of the CDC? Goes back to work for every few. What? They bounce back and forth. Yeah. Yes, freedom isn't free. If you have a couple articles you can bring me. I have seen that, but I've never researched it. So that is interesting you bring that up, because I've never thought to. I've just noticed the pattern there for sure. Why? Great question. Yep, they tested this shit over the years using military. Absolutely. And now they have it completely honed. I remember the documentaries on combustion have said, we just can't solve this. We just don't know. And then they go, we don't know why. It's a UFO. You know exactly what it is, a UFO, my ass. Go fuck yourself. Okay, that's a good question. Let's go look that up. I don't know if I have an answer for you. So this is why we'll ask the Google gods. Let's search for it, though. So it means damage or disease that affects the brain. It happens when there's been a change in the way your brain works or a change in your body that affects the brain. Those changes lead to an altered mental state, leaving you confused and not acting like you normally do. Oh, Dennis, you are my new favorite person. Way to catch that word. Wow. That's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Now let's read that and let's ask ourselves some questions, because I'm thinking about that. Damage or disease that affects the brain, a damage. When we're talking about a lead to an altered mental state, and I'm going to sound a little hokey for a minute, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So I look into these things like these ascension and awakening and these people, and I have a lot of opinions on them. I wish they'd look more into science, and not that science, though, real mind science. They'd understand their ideas a lot better if they understand humans and their behaviors. But they don't. They just walk around and tell everyone, you need to open your chakras and breathe. But yet they have no idea about their own development, their own human stages. They're busy reading it from a book. And I have problems with that. So interesting, Dennis. Interesting. I would say I suffer from this as well. Anybody else raise their hands? Anybody else suffer from this? I have an altered mental state. That's what's going to happen to everyone. Do you see? En masse. And I really will, you know what? I've been doing, it's part of the reason why you hadn't seen me is I've got a lot of stuff going on personally in my life right now. As you know, we've got some changes happening in our home. And then the other thing is that when I'm not here, I am researching the living fuck out of behaviors. My theory, the very thing that started my channel in the first place. This right here is there. Gabby does too. Absolutely. This, my theory. I started looking into scents, smells. I got somebody, I was watching the channel I like. She's funny as fuck. I'm going to share this too, but I'll share it separately as well because I wanted to break down. She shared this really fascinating video, and I thought it was amazing. And so it was a commercial for a perfume ad. It was a perfume ad. And then I was like, what the fuck? And then I started looking into perfume, and then I came across the history of perfume, and I came across a lecture from the godfather of perfume. And mind blown. And the thing is that I struggle because I think, would you guys hear the same things that I hear when I listen to that stuff? I don't mean that in an ugly way like you're dumb. I don't mean that at all. I just mean we have been programmed so much to look at all these other things that we forget to look at our own behaviors. And to me, if you were to ask me what the key to mankind is, well, then the key to mankind is man himself. We're our own worst enemies. We're God's perfect creation. We're his son. We're his child. We're his work, his story, his movie, whatever, his, her, whatever I don't care. And I'm just thinking, so many things, the smells. I want to know about smell. What does a scent? The scent. Turns out he has a scent wheel. He has a scent wheel that he made. And guess what? It looks very much like everybody else's wheel. It's divided into 4 segments, and he's got it broke down into different, like a color wheel. A color wheel for smells, for perfumes. It's beautiful. I'm very interested in this topic, and I've been studying it for a hot minute. If anyone else is interested in it, I will do a video. I'll do a video, at least share the links, and you can watch it and see for yourself what you think. Okay. So we got that out of the way. A lot of information about that. Here's another one that I had. Oh yeah, I found this. This is a paper. It's a paper called, it's titled "The Smoking Gun: Proof that the Illuminati planned terrible events many years ago to bring down our culture." Part 4. Cataclysmic events still in the future. Oops. I gotta take that off. Okay. But here's the thing. It's a government paper. It's on the CIA website. Did you see that? CIA.gov website. Of course, the Illuminati card game has cards for these events to continue to demonstrate that Steve Jackson knew the plan very well. This is on the CIA website. That's what found it interesting to me, because why would this do you know what I mean? And so it's literally, you're on the cutting. It's an article about the greatness of the game and the Antichrist and the New World Order. Anyway, I'm not sure why. Why is this on the CIA's website? And there's no warning on it or anything that says, like, warning. There's nothing on here now. It's that, but it's that. It's this article. It's this. The Antichrist in a cup of tea. Why is this on the CIA? It's on the. Anybody know? Hey, Ice. What's up? Oh, man. It's good to see you. Yeah, I got hit on that other channel now. What a mess. Anyway, and then that stuff about oh yeah, that was something somebody sent me about a goddess. What is this one? Oh yeah, this one was good. This one was a good article. This is from Euler Humes. Growing pains. Here's another one that's coming out of what's going to happen to us mentally. The future of incomes for Gen Z. Now, let me tell you who this was from. Let me tell you who Gen Z is. In case you don't know, Gen Z is our children. If you are a Gen Xer, Gen Z is your children. Millennials are Gen Y, X, Y, Z. X, Y, millennials, Z, our kids, our generation. Now you might have a kid in another category. And again, let me remind you that generations it's got a gray area to it. It's got different things that add to it. It's not number black and white. And that because the reason being is because it's on a mental plane and not a physical plane. So in the mental plane, you have behaviors. They're not quite so cut in stone. So Gen Z, the last, because after Gen Z, if you know, the millennials' children are called Generation Alpha. A, the beginning. The Z, the X, the hourglass. I wrote some things. I mean, look at the Z and then think, if you put a line there, you get an X, and you get an hourglass, and you get Extinction Rebellion. So the summary is, and this is, again, this is a Global News Insights, Economic Insights, Growing Pains of the Future of Incomes for Lockdown. The future of incomes. Do you read that? Incomes, money. For the lockdown Gen Zers. They're kids still. Not according to this place. They're going to tell you what they're going to do to them. So it says the youth labor market is highly sensitive to economic cycles, with young people more likely to be precarious employment than any other age group. It took years to recover across Europe, though youth incomes never went back to pre-GFC levels in Spain. And so it goes on to tell you some other things. It could take even longer to recover from the impact of COVID-19, especially in places like Switzerland, Austria, Italy, and Germany. With education so disrupted, especially in youth in Spain, Austria, and Switzerland, the pandemic will hinder human capital accumulation, punishing young workers further and widening already present intergenerational inequalities. This calls for policymakers to expand support programs. This calls, listen to this. This calls for, let me translate what I think you're saying here. This means that we need to have our nasty, grubby little fingers inside everybody's cookie jar. This calls for policymakers to expand support programs focused on the youth and support workers through this adjustment with training and reskilling to avoid job scarring, whereby young people are pushed into long-term unemployment with consequences for the economic recovery. The experience. So you can see what they're talking about. Like these are your children. Qualifying the loss. They're already deciding they're not going to have any jobs. Do you see that? There will be no jobs for Gen Zers. Youth not in employment, education, and training. I'll give you this if you want to look at this. Uh-oh. Oh, no, not another. What are they trying to pin you for now? I must have missed that, Ice. Staying out. I know. Dennis is worried about you too. Look. Interesting. Look at this. They even use these terms. We expected most countries to return to pre-COVID-19 levels by 2025. For 5 years? We'll never get back to pre-COVID in 5 years. That's absolutely ludicrous. And I don't mean crazy. I mean, it's impossible. You know why? Because 5 years is a long span of time and a lot can happen in 5 years and you won't return. Have you ever left a job or left a friend, left a situation, and then you try to go back to it after a while and it doesn't quite go back the way it was? It seems like it's kind of different. Well, it's never going to be that again. You can't go back. Losing competitiveness in the labor market, but you can't. Once a pickle, you can never go back to being a cucumber again. Losing competitiveness in the labor market for young people poses a huge problem for Southern European countries and has become a reason for the brain drain. That's why Spain and Italy apparently are stupid right now. They have brain drain? Is that what you're trying to tell me in this article? As a species, it's a call for action. Lost schooling, lost experience. What is that? Hysteresis will impede the reallocation of worker sectors. Loss of schooling, they're already telling you that these kids are losing things and they're not doing anything to stop it. What are you doing to make sure they don't lose schooling and they don't lose experience? Yeah, I do too, Ice. It's a phenomenon in which the value of physical property lags behind changes in the effect causing it. For instance, when magnetic induction lags behind the magnetic force. So in other words, you just won't, it's lagging behind. Interesting. The evidence that missing 1 hour of education per week can have an impact on scores. Even if remote learning is a viable option for some, there is losses in peer-to-peer education. And why are we not? Why? So you know all this. You know all these things here. You know the impact it's going to have on the world, on the youth. Then why are we doing this? Why are we arguing over vaccine patents? Because they're not real, that's why. There is no such thing as a vaccine. Do you feel, Gabby, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like as a being, when you die, you'll have a louder voice in the afterlife than you ever had here? Right? Just, I'll wait my turn, don't worry. You know, I have ideas that I'll get to come back as like a tornado or a volcano or an earthquake or something rad, you know, and just shake up a bunch of the fuckers, you know. Keeping me safe. Why do they want to keep me safe? That was just one of my tabs. I've got a ton more of tabs. of different things. I was looking up exit stage. Oh yeah, here's an interesting one I started checking out. Oops. That's not what I'm wanting. Sure. So Metallica has an interesting song. To live is to die, with lyrics, speaking of. I'd play it, but Metallica doesn't like to share. To live or to die. Here's the lyrics, supposedly. When a man lies, he murders. When he lies, L-I-E, lies. When a man lies, he murders some part of the world. These are the pale deaths, which men miscall their lives. All this I cannot bear to witness any longer. Cannot the kingdom of salvation take me home? Now I find this to be an interesting lyric. When a man lies. Because one of the things that narcissistic abuse taught me, experiencing the lying. Yes, I knew it. Let's meet up and let's do some damage. Let's all meet up later. In the afterlife, what are you thinking we should do first? Should we be volcano first or earthquake? A real one, not a fake one. We come back as the real deal. Fuck you. I'll show you an earthquake. You think you can make rain? I'll make it rain. It was the lying. It was the deceit that bothered me. I don't have a problem. I'm a weird person. I don't own jealousy. I don't. I've looked my entire life. True story. I simply don't own it. And even after all of the betrayal that I've been through, still don't own it. It never made me more fearful. So, or jealous. Never made me worry. Well, oh no, he's going to leave me. Didn't do any of those things. Don't fucking care. You leave me for another woman, you're an idiot. You're literally an idiot. And good, more to power to you. That's not what bothered me about him. It was the lying. It was the fact that I wasn't even asked if I was okay with his dick being in other women. I was never asked that. And I find it disturbing that these people come home and then stick their dick in you. They get a big boner. And when I hear people talking about how our politicians are standing up there getting a big boner as they're telling you you're going to have to wait another month, I think of that same idea, that same feeling in their mind when they tell you no is the same feeling that he used to get when he recognized what he was doing. It's the lies I have a problem with. So when I read this, when a man lies, he murders some part of the world. Well, I absolutely believe that. And I write papers about it. Because the Bible has 10 commandments. Thou shalt not kill is one of them. Don't murder. And we've all walked around the world assuming that that means don't murder my physical body. I mean, that's actually not true. It does mean that, but it also has a second meaning. As it would, as above, so below. So if you can't kill my physical body, well, then you certainly can't kill my spiritual body either. Either. And so that's what they're doing right now. They're killing our spirit. Let me ask you, do you think COVID has killed human spirit in general as a whole? As a human body, all of us just little parts of one body of Christ, they say. I'm a finger, you're a toe, but we're all the same. Oh, why do they keep wanting to cut us off from each other? Anybody know why am I to be cut off from certain people of religious or color or political or this or what country they live in or that? Why do you want me to be separated from my toes? Sometimes my fingers like to reach down and touch my toes, but not according to these people. These freaks won't stay. Mm-hmm. We'll get them. Anyway, there's more to this tab. There's more to this thought. So anyway, that's the first part. When a man lies, he murders part of the world. It's a commandment, and you broke it. Not like that, but let me remind you that the Bible also says that if you cause another to sin, you are guilty of their sin. So if you cause someone to be afraid and fearful and run and go get a shot and it kills them, you're actually guilty of their crime, of their sin. Not them. You are. Not them. You. Because you caused it. If I'm a rich piece of shit, then you're causing, by definition, poor people to be poor. You can't have both. You can't say, well, I'm rich and you are poor. I deserve all this and you didn't. I worked hard and you didn't. You're sinning. Because their poorness is directly related to the fact that you want more. And you can't get more than others unless you hurt others along the way, unless you take from others along the way. Now, this makes me think of prosperity teaching. I've been listening to these prosperity teachings. Hey, Beach! And they want to tell me that there's plenty of money to go around. There's plenty of money for me and you. You get $1 billion and you get $1 billion and you get $1 billion. They're Oprah. But see, I don't believe that. I don't think that's the case. You can't create something out of nothing, or so we're told. At least not in this realm, right? Or this dimension, which gets me on another topic. What is with that? Ridiculous. My point is, I'll go on that another day, is that you cannot be rich and not have taken. You can't have more than your share. It's not enough to go around. You can't be prosperity preaching billions and billions of dollars for yourself and think that that's okay. But sorry, can't find it interesting. You're a douche. You're a douche. You can live a normal life. I'm not saying, like, I live a happy life. I have all my needs met. That's the right way to do it. Have your needs met. Abundance, not hoarding. So anyway, it goes on to say that these are the pale deaths, which men miscall their lives. All this cannot bear witness any longer. Cannot the kingdom of salvation take me home? So it says pale deaths, pale deaths. So of course I look up the pale horse and the horsemen of the apocalypse. So I found this interesting. So the fourth pale horse. Hey, peeps. Peeps. When the Lamb broke the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, come. I looked and behold a pale horse. And he who sat on it had a name, Death. You can't cheat death. And Hades followed with him. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with a sword and with famine and with pestilence and with wild beasts of the earth. So they say this is death, the pale horse. These are the pale deaths. Do you see what I'm talking about? This is your pale horse. This is your pale horse. The pale deaths. The pale deaths. Pale. Translucent. A veil. A pale. Right? This is the death of the soul. That's what I believe that's saying. It's named Death and all its writers. The only one whom the text self-explicitly gives a name. Unlike the other three, he is not described carrying a weapon or any other object because he cannot kill you with a weapon. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm right. I'm just saying this is what I'm thinking of. How could he? Because his death is of a different kind. An internal hell, the resting place of the dead. However, illustrations commonly depict him as carrying a scythe, like the Grim Reaper. And I think that the reason for that is because that's that harvest. He's harvesting souls. So the color of the death horse is written in coloros in the original. And it can mean either green, greenish yellow, pale, or pallium. The color is often translated as pale or ashen, pale green, or yellowish green. And other possible interpretations, the Greek word for the root of chlorophyll or chlorine, based on uses that chlorophyll plants, chlorine chemical. Based on the uses of this word in ancient Greek medical literature, several scholars suggest that the color reflects a sickly pallor of a corpse. In some modern artistic depictions, the horse is distinctly green. In the very beginning, the verse beginning, they were given power over a fourth of the earth, is generally taken to refer to the death and the Hades, the death and the place you go where you reside. Although some commentators say that it's all four. Destroying an empire. See also crisis of the 3rd century. This is all under pale horse. Destroying an empire, still under pale horse. And look at their C also. Military anarchy or the imperial crisis period. Where we have another crisis, generational crisis. And look at this. They're all facing west, north, east, south. That's interesting. The deadly, let's see. So that's that. Here's the crystal. I mean, it's very interesting to read. I don't know if you guys want me to bore you with such things, though. She does. Oprah. They say the freaks come out at night. They only come out at night. Do 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 do. Anyway, I found that to be quite interesting. They got LSD and stuff. I'll put it in here. I mean, we think we know about something until we go and really, really look it up, and then I think, well, that's interesting. All right, so here I looked. Okay, so let's keep going. Paleness. Causes of skin paleness. What to know about skin paleness. Here's some things. This anemia, bleeding, vitamin deficiencies, infections, fatigue, breathing issues, genetic disorders, cancer. When to see your doctor, and an outlook. It says skin paleness involves the skin appearing lighter than usual. Another term for this is pallor, and it can occur in a person with any skin tone. While people tend to associate pallor with the face, it can also cause the nail beds to turn very light or white. The color change can likewise affect lips, gums, and tongue. When a person appears pale, maybe because there's not enough oxygen-rich hemoglobin near their skin surface. Hemoglobin is a protein in the red blood cells that transports oxygen, and several conditions can reduce this level. Paleness is different from low levels of pigment. Some genetic conditions, such as albinism and vitiligo, which this is interesting because I've known someone who had that, and not to mention it's also one that comes along with my genetic disorder. I don't have that, but it's in the category, it's in the family because it's a connective tissue disorder, and I have a connective tissue disorder. All these are in there. I've also known somebody who's albino too, but I was much older, high school. Affect the skin's pigments. The pigmentation changes can also result from skin damage, such as from a burn or injury. So state makes that. In these cases, they often call this like birthmarks, right? Is where you get those types where you really dark patches on your body or really light patches on your body, depending on your predominant. The cells that give this pigment are evolved. So here's some things. Anemia can cause paleness. anemia. A lot of people suffering from anemia because we don't eat right. We don't eat enough iron. We need to eat more of that, right? Bleeding can cause you to be pale. Vitamin deficiencies, something we're seeing. I'm just saying that right now with COVID, they're talking about a lot of these things. Get your vitamin deficiency. Folate. Do you have a vitamin? B12. I take a B12. I'm supposed to anyway. Infections can cause you to be parlor, like a COVID infection. Fatigue can also cause you to be pale. Fatigue is a chronic fatigue syndrome is directly linked to trauma-based mental and physical trauma causes chronic fatigue syndrome. It's directly linked. It's also something people who are war veterans struggle from, chronic fatigue syndrome. It's a comorbidity, underlying symptom of anemia. Underlying symptom. Breathing issues, right? That can make you pale. Got your face covered with the masks. That can make you pale. Genetic disorders can make you pale. Usually a person will be pale for their whole life. That's me. I'm a pale. Cancer will make you pale. So looking pale. Ooh, grits and eggs. That sounds good. Yeah. No, we're not doomed. We're not doomed at all. We're not doomed, Dennis. No. We're doomed. If you want to look at it like our physical bodies are, I suggest you stay as far away from anything that they want to put in your body. As far as I'm concerned, I die. It'll be very difficult for me. I'm going to have to really assess the situation as to what's going on, whether or not I go to a doctor for it or not, because I don't want any of their shit. That's how massively dedicated I am to dying human. I would literally just put up with it, I think, just to not have them touch me. But it's got some things like looking pale, blanched, blanching, anxiety symptoms, common description. So your face looks pale, white, pasty. You've lost color. Sick or sickly. Such as the face. So the pale horse. This is what I'm thinking. It's a sickness of the mind, not the body. And then I looked up prestigious, inspiring respect and admiration, because somewhere in this article it said prestigious. It's usually why I have those words, because I'm like, what the fuck? The type of fears. Look at this. So beautiful. Look, stress response can cause a change in the body's blood flow. Being anxious, worried, apprehensive, fretful, and fearful causes the body to produce the stress hormone or stress response. The stress response secretes stress hormones into the bloodstream where they travel to targeted spots in the body to bring about specific psychological, physiological, and emotional changes and enhance the body's ability to deal with the threat. To either fight, flight, or free from it. Either fight with or flee from it. Which is the reason the stress response is also often referred to as the fight or flight response. Because the body contains a finite amount of blood, 3 to 6 quarts, or 2.8 to 5.7 liters. The amount is dependent upon the body's weight and height. One of the many changes the fight or flight response brings about is blood being shunted away from some parts of the body so that the areas of the body vital for survival have more blood than those less important for survival. For example, blood is moved from the skin, hands, feet, and sent to the brain. So the brain has more fuel to think. The heart, so the heart can pump suitable qualities of blood to the vital areas and muscles to make the body stronger and quicker, to name a few. Now, now here's where I'll give you a little more information about myself, because this is why I share these things. The condition I have, when I stand, all the blood pools to the bottom. My heart does not pump fast enough, it pumps fast enough. It does. That's not true. There's something wrong in my brain that doesn't know how to regulate the heartbeat. So when I stand, just standing, my heart begins to beat faster and faster and faster and faster. And I, in fact, begin to look pale. I get dizzy. I can get nauseous, and I will faint. This happens with people who have hyperglycemia, or maybe even diabetes, things like this, which is what they kept trying to treat me for. And I didn't have that. And that's why none of those treatments ever worked. And so my condition got worse and worse and worse, because the very things that they are recommending for you are dangerous. And I should have never done them. I did more damage to myself trying to follow their fucking rules than if I had listened to just my body. But we're taught to be this isn't right. They couldn't give me a true answer. So when I think about this, so you have the blood moves from the hands and feet and sent to the brain. This is why you get dizzy when you stand up too fast, because the blood falls out of the brain, and the heart has to push it back up there. And if it's broken, it can't do it very well, and you end up passing out, because your body says, lay down, is what it says. I cannot regulate in a standing position. I need you laying down. Gravity is not our friend right now. That's why I faint. That's why anybody does. So the body shunts blood around by dilating the blood, and constricting the blood vessels. So since the red blood cells give blood its red color, when blood flow is reduced to the skin loses some of its reddish hue, and the movement of the blood away from the skin on the face leaves the face looking white, blanched, or pale. In addition to the perception of danger, so just the perception of danger, right? Just the idea that it is present. The stress responses can also occur involuntary. Now we're talking. Now I'll share why I think this is important, because when I see cop auditors and cop watchers getting beat up, they're involuntarily responding to the action. The police tell you to stop it. You can't, because it's involuntary. I can't not resist arrest when you're punching me in the face. I will undoubtedly be forced, without any action of mine, to put my hands up and protect myself. Now, let me ask you a question. When you were a kid and you got spanked, since we're probably the last generation to have had this, how many times did you, without being able to control it, put your hands to cover your butt and get whacked on the hand? How many times? You could not help it. This is 50 Shades of Grey. They play with this concept in those things, right? I'm going to whip you, but you can't stop it. It's involuntary. So if you're going to put your hands there, I'll say, don't put your hands there, and you're going to do it anyway. Don't put your hands there. Can't help it. So when I see people with masks and they're pulling them off their face, they think they're pulling it off to speak to you, when in reality, their mind is coming up with an excuse to take it off. It's making an excuse to take it off because it wants to take it off really bad. It wants to breathe properly, and you're not letting it. So when you get in a situation where you have the opportunity to take it off, you take it unbeknownst to you. You don't even realize you're doing it. And the people who have those things over their nose or under their nose there look like idiots. Look like idiots. Overstimulation increases, and so does the likelihood of the body's erratic and more involuntary behavior. This is a reason blanching can occur out of the blue and persist for no apparent reason why. So the way the body manages body temperature, the body also shunts blood around to manage internal temperature. For example, when the body is cold, the body constricts blood vessels to the skin, and less blood is exposed, and you look pale. There's not enough oxygen in your blood. That will also make you look pale. And low oxygen in the blood can occur from breathing too shallowly, so in other words, hyperventilating, or holding your breath, which many anxious people do when they're stressed or anxious. I myself am one of them. Hey, truth. Do that over and over again. I think it's the subconscious. To make the jury. Yeah. So freedom isn't free says they do that over and over though. I think it's a subconscious thing to make the jury somehow believe you can and you're actually resisting. Because if they were just to show a video of a person getting beaten. Exactly, freedom. That's why I say you can't use that. That's instinct we have, for fuck's sakes. And the instinct is to try to get away, which you see him run. The instinct, if I can't run, then is to freeze and protect myself. So when an animal freezes, they drop to the ground. They stand very still. You see, that's a perfect thing that happens in, say, the predator. Dinosaurs. Jurassic Park. Stand still. Freeze. See, we think freezing is a bad response. It's not. None of these are bad responses. We think only fighting is good. Fighting is bad. Fighting is your last resort, not your first. First, you walk away. First, you try to get away. If you cannot get away, you freeze in place. I'll give you a good example of how this works. So imagine somebody's broken into your house. You hear them in the middle of the night. The first thing you're going to want to do is to get out of the house. Well, if somebody's coming into the house and you don't have an exit to leave the house, in other words, you might be in bed at the corner of the house, your response is to hide. Hide until safety. So first you want to get out of the house. I can't get out of the house. They've got me surrounded. I'll hide. Right? Then if they find you hiding, then you begin to fight. Now, how do I know this? Because I've seen it in every fucking movie ever. 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 So the type of fear at the root of the stress response. The types of degrees of fears can trigger different types and degrees of stress responses. For example, from being suddenly frightened, boogity boogity, or experiencing an emotional shock can lead to blanching of the blood or shunting away from the skin, including skin on the face. Yet being embarrassed, fear of looking foolish, often causes the blood to flow to the face, causing blushing and flushing. At this time, it isn't known exactly why these differences occur, but they do, no matter the exact reasons why both blanching and blushing can occur due to above factors, including stress response and hyperstimulation. Nevertheless, we could think about it. Think about why. It's interesting. You don't know why now. Why do you flush and blush? Flush, like all the blood just flushing from your body. Interesting. How to get rid of looking pale or anxiety symptoms. So when this looking pale anxiety symptom is caused by apprehensive behavior and the accompanying stress response changes, calming yourself down will bring you an end to the stress response and its changes. As your body recovers from these active stress response, the anxiety symptoms should subside and you should return to your normal self. Keep in mind that it can take up to 20 minutes or more for the body to recover from a major stress response. Now, that's interesting that I read that, because when I get up and do something, I have a window of time, good days and bad days. Some days I'm incapable of standing up for more than a couple minutes at a time. So walking to the bathroom is about as far as I can get, still dizzy. And then when I'm in good times, I can do a lot more. I can go for longer. So some days I can do the whole dishwasher and the dishes, like the whole thing, take them out, put them in at once. And other days I have to do it rack by rack. It takes me twice as long, but it takes me on average 20 minutes to sit down and catch my breath again. I found that to be quite interesting. It says that 20 minutes. And why 20 minutes? What is it about 2 tens? So nevertheless, yeah, it's caused by persistent stress, and it can take a lot on the body. So nevertheless, when the body, I'm not stressed. My body thinks it's stressed all the time. That's what trauma does to the physical body. I can no longer tell the difference between pleasure and pain. That is true. And a lot of people can't. And we're going to see a lot more of it, because this is what happens when you experience lots of trauma in your life. You can no longer tell the difference. My girlfriend is a veteran. She can no longer tell the difference. She's had too many hits. And therefore, just like me, her body can't tell the difference. So she's excited about something happening in her life, and she's sick. And she goes, I don't understand why I feel like shit when everything is so good. And I said, because your body can't tell the fucking difference. It wants to shut down and sleep. That's why you're so excited. Excited is, it doesn't matter. Excitement to the mind is the same. Scared, excited, happy, excited. You're excited. And your body responds the same exact way. Anyway, I find these kind of articles really interesting. I think we need to learn more about ourselves, what makes us tick, why we do all the things that we do. And they put me a computer-generated pale person with red hair. What is that? Why do that? Oh, look, it was written by Jim and medically reviewed by, I'm guessing, his wife. And this was from February. My point is, they know this about COVID. They know this stuff. They know these things. They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you, we didn't know. We didn't know that this was going to do this to you in 10, 20 years. And we're going to find out that it does do it to you. And then we'll find out that they knew all along. You know, like the tobacco companies and all the rest of the companies and the vaccine companies and the pharmaceutical companies that continue to sell a drug they know is harming people. They know it because there's studies that show it. Drugs in the body, that shot, the COVID shot, does DNA damage to you. You don't think so. They won't tell you that, but it does. And let me tell you, I can prove it because they have lots and lots of research on it. Let's see. Hang on. Life event, stress, and illness. So there's chronic diseases and organ systems. So you can actually look and read these things. The relationship between stress and illness is complex. The susceptibility to stress varies from person to person. So your susceptibility, predisposed. Among the factors that influence this to stress are genetic vulnerability, coping style, and type of personality, and support, social support. And here's where I find this interesting, because your genetic vulnerability. When they're taking all of our DNA and stuff, they're finding our genetic vulnerabilities. Now, if I was the devil, I'd use that as my advantage. I most definitely would. You know I would. Why wouldn't you? I don't like surprise parties either, Gabby. I don't like to be surprised. Do you not like that at all? I don't like people yelling at me. I don't like any of that stuff. And look at that. Look at that. The correlation between a stressful life events like a pandemic and 9/11 and the psychiatric illness is stronger than correlation with medical and physical illness. And now, while I'm at it, let me show you something else. So a child, when a child is going through, a stage in its life. So imagine, okay, I've used this example before, but imagine a child is at the stage. They're probably toddlers, preschool, babies, not toddlers, not preschoolers. I mean, like toddlers and babies. They're learning about the world, and they've got these things going on in their brain. So every day, new experiences create new understandings of the world. And if hit at just the right time, so for example, you somehow get trapped underwater, like on a boat, or you're swimming and some kids holding you down under the water, or let's just say, let's go younger, and a bug attacks you, or you get left behind, or you get lost in the store. If that happens to you, or a balloon pops, that's the one I've used before. If that happens to you, and you're at just the right place, if you're at the right place at the right time, and your development and your mind, and that event takes place, it alters you. It changes your perception of the world. And now what you used to love, balloons and fireworks, things that you didn't even think twice about the sounds, suddenly, because it came out of nowhere and shocked you, a loud noise at a point where you were susceptible in your developmental growth for that to take place. Because another time, the loud noise wouldn't bother you. If you're at a point, then it turns itself on. And now forever, loud noises are going to be problems for you. It can be lifelong fear. That's what fear-based or fear is all about. Fear studies are all about. Is where does it show up? Here's where it shows up. It shows up at times in your life where you are actually beginning to understand that concept. So when it's there, it switches on for you. Now, forever, until you can conquer it. So this is where heights can come from and all kinds of things. Say you fell at just the right age, just the right time, and that fall, unlike all the other falls, this one had a difference. This one made a difference. Why? Because it happened at a time that something was going on in your brain. Simple as that. Now, if I was the devil, if I wanted to rule the world, say I'm God. Don't even forget the devil, because he's not God. If I was God, and say I understood that all of humanity is one big body. Hey, Bruce. Yes. And I have geese, Bruce. They're little geek goslings, which I need to get them some fresh water. When you have this, if I was God and I wanted to change and alter a group of people in order to get them to act the way I wanted, and I understood that they are a body of a bigger being, and that body, so in other words, I'm a finger, you're a toe, that body is going through a certain stage in its life that if I hit it with, say, World Trade Center bombing or Boston bombing or, 9/11 or COVID, if I could hit that human body at just the right time, or the majority of parts are developing an understanding of the world, and I was to introduce at that moment a trauma so globally huge that it affects the entire body, not just a finger in Boston, but the whole body, the world of the body, the hand of America and the hand of Canada and the leg of this and that whole body, then I can in fact change the world. I could get you to do whatever I wanted. I could get you to wear masks. All I have to understand is your age, fear, human behavior, and I have a pandemic. And you'll do whatever I say. It's that simple. That simple. Occam's razor. Learn about yourself. If you want to avoid the devil, learn about yourself. If that's the flavor Kool-Aid, figure out why you do the things you do, and then ask others why they do the things they do. In my opinion, we need to do more research on this, on a lot more of this. If you want to change humanity, you need to understand humanity. And right now, we don't understand jack shit, but they do, and they're using it as a weapon. How do I know? Because I would so, absolutely. Anyone else? Anyone else in the chat? If you knew that you could cause your kid to be afraid of heights, and you wanted a kid in the future that was afraid of heights, do you know the age to introduce that to? Do you know what age you would have first felt that flicker of fear? Interesting. Speaking of fears, in case you don't know, there's 5 of them. 5 fears. I'm going to end this then. I'm going to do some things. I'll come back and talk more about fears. If you're afraid of something, if you have a phobia and you're fearful of something and you want to talk to me about it, I would love to talk to you about it. It can be private or in public. I don't care. Just depends. I won't share your shit. I mean, you don't have to believe me. I mean, if you believe me, then I would really love it if you would talk to me, because I think that we can heal ourselves of these fears. I can't fix your fears. A psychiatrist can't fix your fears, but I can help you understand where they come from and at least get you on the right track, because I've conquered mine. And isn't that what we're all doing? Trying to figure out how to conquer individually and then share how it worked for us. Might not work for you, but I study fears because I'm fascinated by them. I don't own fear either. That's another thing. I'm fearful. I'm not going to go jump off a roof. I don't do stupid behavior. I'm not afraid of heights. I'll go up on the roof. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of getting hurt, but I'm not afraid of the thing. And so once you understand that, then you can change the thing altogether. And now it's just the thing. And your real fear is, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want that to attack me. It's not going to feel good. I have a couple days. I'm going to be angry. Look at their markets, Joan. It's 35 seconds. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Oh, is that I need to go grab these tabs before I go. Fear is something you don't have to have. And the biggest fear we have is dying. That's not even the fear we have. That's what's so crazy. That isn't even actually the fear we struggle with. It isn't the fear of dying. We've already got that one. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. We've already got the fear of dying. We have a fear of an ego death, is what we have a fear of. Oh, no, I have to go to the Joni Rotten channel. Let's see it. Yep, you didn't make me, you can break me. There's a couple of people haven't smashed the like button yet. If you haven't done that, you don't have to. I'll give $5 if you do or not. But if you would like to, that would be helpful, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know if that's helpful, but they say it is. Okay, I'm going to open this in a new tab. Wasn't there another link in here somewhere? Somebody put me to something else. Where was that? I can grab these. If you put another link in there and I missed it, I only got that last one. Yeah. Oh, I see Bill Gates on the net. Okay, let's see what it is. Let's see what it says. Oh, cute. Oh, cute. Oh, cute. Yeah. But if you know it, Gabby, if you know it will end. Gabby, have you had kids? Anybody who's had females I'm speaking to, if you've had a baby, do you know in that when you're giving birth, you reach that point where you go, I cannot do this anymore. Get this fucking thing out of me. I'm sick of this. I've reached my end. I'm over this. Or I'm going to kill you. And we make fun of it in the movies. And I remember for me, it was that moment that I was like, I just give up. I can't do this. It's ridiculous. Well, something interesting my midwife said to me. She said, oh, well, then you're about to have a baby any minute now. What? Yeah. Second you think you can't make it, you're there. You're there. You're already there. You finished. And so this happens with people who run in marathons too. So you run long distances. You start to get close to the end. You're going around the corner. You think that this last set of trees is going to show you the finish line. And you're like, fuck. More trees. So you keep running. You know you're close, though. And at this point, you go around another curve. Fuck, more trees. I should be close. I don't even want to run this fucking race. And for a split second, and every racer will tell you this. This is them telling you this. They feel like they're not going to make it. They have a moment, just a split second moment where they feel like they can't run another step. But because they train for that fear, it doesn't last. And they recognize it. The minute they feel it, it's over. And they give themselves, come on, you can do it, pick up the pace. And they start to talk to themselves like a drill sergeant. Mm-hmm. And I love what you're saying here because I have some talks on that too. It's interesting to me. The moment that that moment, you'll take anything to make it stop. They talked my ex into prolonging it, even though she knew that's what they were going to do. Thanks, Gabby. Yeah, the moment you take, so when you look at these, I was, did some videos on Rotten Studios about travel. So you can travel right now, believe it or not, to other countries, even though they're telling you can't. And I'll tell you how they're getting around this if you didn't see my other videos. Texas is opening people to come fly on a plane. They can't drive over. The border's closed that way, but they can fly over and get a shot because they have a vaccine shortage and we don't. And so they're flying over here from Mexico and other countries in order to get a shot. And they're wrapping it up as a vacation package. They're calling it vacation, vaccination. It's like the 3 V's. The 3 V's. Mm-hmm. 3 V's. It's a travel kit. It's a vaxcation. And it's open to the rich of Mexico. Just the rich. Just the rich are doing it. And they're flying over here and they're enjoying a weekend. Sometimes they stay for a couple weeks and get both shots and have a 2-week vacation in America, all wrapped up as medical travel. And medical travel has a loophole. You can just, doesn't specify the type of medical trauma. So they are the type of medical travel. So I'm going to America for a COVID shot. Now here's a kicker. It's a level 4 country. They're letting come over here into Mexico, into Texas. Level 4, the highest level. Mexico has so many cases of COVID. It's on level 4. It's a touchdown. It's not even a warning. There might be tornadoes. No, there is. There is a tornado now. It's official. We have spotted a tornado. But let's all send that tornado to Texas, where our president won't let people come from other countries that have little to no COVID. Why is that? Why won't you let them come over? You'll let this group come over that has a level 4. This is the hypocrisy, ridiculous bullshit that keeps happening. These are the things we should be sharing. There's big industry, travel. Travel's waiting in the wings. They have so much on the stuff. You should look business. Stop looking at CNN. Stop reading all that stuff and start reading the business section. Grab the New York Times and open it to the business section. You want to know the future? Read the stock market. That's their words, not mine, but it's true. They're not lying. Bill and Melinda Gates. What about them? Let's see.
The last thing you want is a bidding war between countries for this vaccine. You know, we know there are 60 million healthcare workers around the world who are keeping everybody safe. They deserve to get this vaccine first. And from there, you want to do tiering in various countries to make sure your most vulnerable populations get it. In our country, that would be Blacks and Native Americans, people with underlying health conditions, and the elderly. The last thing you...
All the people they plan on killing. What the fuck? Look at his face. I can't wait till all the elderly are dead. He looks like Beavis or Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, no, I'm serious, Dennis. I'm serious as a heart attack. I'm serious as a motherfucking heart attack. Go to Rotten Studios. And I read, I don't know, 3, maybe 4. I got 1 taken down. But about that vaccination. Mm-hmm. Yep, take out the caregivers first. Absolutely. Get rid of the parents. They want to get rid of Gen X. They want to X us out. Yes. Yes. Jesus, take the wheel, Gabby. I get that. Same thing. When things are really, I can't look at their ugly faces anymore. When things are really stressed out, that's when we just kind of need to surrender and let God take over. Get our hands out of there. Right? Great conscious knows. Behaviors. Anyway, I'd like more participation. I know that sounds desperate, but I really do love researching stuff. And I'm just about over researching anything that has to do with any of their bullshit. I'm really interested in the behaviors we have. Our generations. Why we do the things we do. That's what I said in my very first video. I'm Joni Rotten, and I want to know why we do the things we do. And I want you to want to know why we do the things we do. So if you have questions, think of a question. You see somebody doing something and you want to know why. Or you might know why, but you want to share why. Come talk to me. Leave me a message. Email me. And we'll look it up. We'll learn about it together. Well, why do they do those things? Hi, Hot Rod. Right? Why do we do these things? I'll show you why. Then I'll tell you what age we learned to do them, because the ages are specific. Were you 3? Were you 3.5? Were you 3 and 3 months? Because those months make a difference as well. We develop so quickly. My goslings grow literally overnight. I'm watching them grow. They grow so fast that I'm literally watching them grow live and in person so quickly. So every day is a new stage for them. Every second is a new stage for them. Every minute is a new stage from them. You don't like my bird, Hot Rod. It's my gosling. Yes, the zone. The zone, the in-between zone. That's that, that's that fight moment. I remember seeing a video one time about this woman that was she was carrying her baby and a bag of groceries out of her car. I believe it was. Paper bag of groceries even. It's an old video. Long before YouTube and stuff, I think. And a dog came up to her, or some animal. I don't know if it's a wild dog, like a fox, or I can't remember that, but it was a dog, and it came at her. And she literally became like a fucking ninja. Didn't drop a thing out of that goddamn bag or the baby. She held it all together and fought off this dog, right? Something like that. And that's exactly what you're describing. That. Exactly what you're describing. Her instinct took over. Not God. Instinct. I mean, you can call it God if you want to, but let's be real. Our sixth sense, instinct, or maybe that's not our sixth. I don't know. That's instinct. That's when you just do something because you don't know what to do. Fight, flight, or freeze. You cannot prevent yourself from running when somebody's chasing you. It's very difficult. I don't know if everyone does, but tunnel vision is interesting. I get it. Truth. I get calm during knocking boots. That always makes you calm, doesn't it, Hot Rod? That always relaxes you. And you go to sleep. mRNA vaccine is pioneering a way to make a vaccine. I have no idea if it works exactly. It's ridiculous. And you know what's funny about that, Freedom? You just made me think of something. So good for you, Hot Rod. As I am doing that video about the Biden would have started this on. So Biden is arguing over patents. Why did they want their patents? What are we talking about here? What exactly is that? So this is the way I'm going to control my people, and I don't want you to know how I'm going to do it. So I don't want to share it with you. What's that mean? Stated about the corruption in the courts. I did not. I probably don't want to. Well, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go get my birds some fresh water, maybe let them play outside for a little bit, and I'm going to go do some other things. So find someone to love on today. Be nice. Always ask why. Always ask why. Why? Why that? Why that? Find the things that stick out to you. Find your patterns. Find your symbols. X is mine. Some of them 13. You get these numbers or these symbols, these pictures. You're just always seeing them left and right. Research them then. Research them then. Go find out why you're seeing this so much. Not the number thing. Just it's something else. It's just a little guide. Think about it more than that. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Rotten Studios. Remember, no contact is the road to freedom.